Could you tell us about the Mica Bay mine takeover?
Okay. So I was telling you a little bit about how the Anishnaabe of this area always recognized that we told the Creator that we're going to look after this land. We're going to look after our relatives. And what that means is that we're going to look after our relative the moose, our relative the bear, our relative the goose, our relative the rabbit, our relative the turtle, our relative the maple tree, our relative the copper, our relative the silver, our relative the gold. Those are all our relatives. Those are all our relations. And we committed to looking after them, protecting them, using them, thanking them for sacrificing themselves for our use, and that we would protect them and we would manage them in a sustainable way. That's what we always said we would do. So today, we still recognize that obligation to all of creation, and we're going to do that. We do that today in all of our work as a people. We continue to carry and fulfill our obligations to all of creation. And it's really important for all of us to remember that, and wherever we go, to look after the lands and look after the environment and use that in a healthy way. So how that relates to Mica Bay was that we said that we don't mind sharing with the settlers that came here. We said, we'll share some of the resources, we'll share some of the forests, we'll share some of the copper with you, but we will manage that, we will permit that, or we will give licenses for that to happen. And the government of the day, the Canadian or the British government, said, okay, we won't allow any thefts of any of your resources without your permission. But we found out at Mica Bay here, we found out that there was this theft of copper. There was an illegal mine operating up in Mica Bay. They were stealing copper. And we asked them if they had a permit, and they said no. Ontario said it's okay. So, well, who's Ontario? They don't own this land in this area. They don't own the copper. So we borrowed a cannon in Sault Ste. Marie here, and we went up there. And we fired one volley into the mine, and they all come out with their hands up. And we put a padlock on the mine. And of course, it wasn't very long that the head of the government of Canada was located in Toronto at I don't know if you know, near the waterfront at the bottom of Parliament Street. That's why they call it Parliament Street, but in York, Fort York, in that area. Anyway, they sent up the Governor General and they sent up the military. So the military came up here and arrested us. There was over 100 of the soldiers that came here and arrested us and marched us off, took us off to Toronto, to York, to the capital, and put us in jail. And then the Governor General said, the Native people are right. The people of Batchewana are right. You have no business putting them in jail. That's their land. That's their copper. So a year later, we were released. We came home. A year later, there was a huge treaty that was signed in Sault Ste. Marie because of that, the Robinson Treaties of 1850. So 1849, we were arrested. 1850 is when the treaty was signed in Sault Ste. Marie. And we at that time said that we would share the resources in writing and in ceremony with the settlers here. So it was that the Mica Bay incident that led to the Treaty of 1850 being signed in Sault Ste. Marie. The cannon is still in the water up there. They threw it off the boat into the water, and one of our fishermen knows where the cannon is. I'd like to see that cannon just to see what it looks like. But that cannon was in Sault Ste. Marie. It was left here because after the War of 1812 with the United States, there was still military equipment here, so we borrowed that and we went up there. So Mica Bay was really prominent for the establishment of Sault Ste. Marie because it formalized a relationship with the First Nations people, because there wouldn't be Sault Ste. Marie if we didn't give the land to Sault Ste. Marie to use. But when we said we would do that, we also said we'd benefit from everything on the land that we were sharing. So after that treaty, after Mica Bay, and after the treaty was signed, Ontario said, okay, can we do this, and can we share the resources? Can we share the copper? And we said, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if we can trust you guys. If you're going to be honorable, or are you going to be out here stealing from us again? And they said, we promise, And you know what? How about if we sell the copper and we give you some of the money from the copper? How's that, Native people? And we said, okay, but we're going to watch you. We want half of everything that you're selling. If you're going to make $1, we want 50 cents. They talked in pounds and European money, but that's basically what happened. So since that time, since 1850, we actually line up at the arena and we all get our share of the value of the copper, of the logs, of the gold, of the silver, of the everything, all of the natural resources in our area, in the Sault Ste. Marie area. We all line up and get our fair share of the resources. You follow me? So you would think that's a lot of money, eh? That we should be getting a lot of money each for our fair share. You know what we get? $4 a year each. So I'll be lining up on May 5th, I think it is. May 5th, the RCMP comes in their red uniforms and their big brimmed hats, and looks like they got a bunch of stuff in their pockets, those pants. And they come here and their bag of toonies, and we all line up and they give us 2 toonies each for our share of the resources. So they say that's honorable, that's the way it works out, but we know that's not right, so we're working on that. So that all comes from Mica Bay. So Mica Bay was important to us. If it wasn't for the Mica Bay incident, we wouldn't be getting our $4 a year.